at our church in Bellingham that we came from before we moved down here, they had this thing called seamless transitions. We never quite got it from them. We never got it. I don't know. We try, but...
That's why they kicked us out, actually.
So yeah, we decided to start our own thing here.
Well, today's the Purely Haiti Walk, and we're praying for rain, and so praying for water, so that's good. Amen. Jamie, I like you. So, today we're actually, when we do this annually, we don't always talk about Haiti or talk about our global projects the morning of, but we are today. And I just want to let you know, I'm kind of the sidekick this morning because our global work is really under Jen's umbrella. She oversees it both in Ukraine and in Haiti, does a phenomenal job, and she's going to be kind of laying most of it out. But she asked me to kind of lead off just by giving a little bit of background as to what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it the way we do. So right now we've been working in Haiti for 10 years, since 2008, and we took our first trip this fall. Why we're doing both of those. But one of the things that we've really tried to figure out over the years is, what are we looking for when we're trying to partner with somebody in another country? What are we looking for? And the thing that we've kind of landed on is we're looking for a partner that preferably would be national. So when we're in Ukraine, they would be Ukrainian. When we're working in Haiti, they would be Haitian. And the reason is because so often you see somebody from a first world nation that goes into a third world nation or developing nation with a vision, and they're able to rally a bunch of money and a bunch of people behind them, and they're hoping that if they spend enough time there, they can sort of transfer that vision to the people. And they work and they work and they work for 4 years or 5 years or 8 years or 10 years or whatever it is, and then something happens to the person that came in with the vision. And what you see happen over and over again is everything just dies because the people inside the country itself don't own the vision. They're happy to receive the money and work with the missionaries and work with the French or the Germans or the Americans or whatever, but they don't really own the vision. It's not their thing. And so one of the things that we're really, really looking for in partners is that it's their vision. They want something different for their country or for their people, and they're willing to work really hard for it, and we're just coming alongside. So we're looking for that. The other thing is we're looking to not be the show. This is as awesome of a group of people as we are. We can't really go into some other country on the other side of the world and be everything that they need. They need to have their own vision. They need to have their own plan. They need to have leaders. They need to be developing leaders. And we just need to kind of come alongside a little bit to help them achieve their vision. So that's what we're looking for. And our partner in Haiti has definitely become that. And we kind of put our toe in the water in Ukraine this year. Another question that people a lot of times will ask when it comes to mission stuff is, why do we send teams? Have you ever wondered that? Okay, so we're raising $2,000+ per person, right? We send a team of 10 over. That's a lot of money. Why don't we just write a check? You ever wondered that? I mean, it seems like it would be, here's why we do it this way. We do it because the partnership and the connection and the relationship is really, really, really huge for both sides. And the reality is, if we said, hey, just write a check, that sounds great in theory, but nobody would. Nobody's just going to crank out that kind of money without somebody going and having a personal experience with it. And so we think it's really good to write a check and send it, which is why we do Purely Haiti, and send people over behind it to say, we love you and we're with you in this thing. And that's where the deepest value is. And so we're committed to continuing to do that. So when it comes to partners, we're also looking for people who would have value added by having teams come and support what they do. And I think one of the biggest blessings has been for our people, going and seeing people worship the same God in a different culture has just been a really special thing. You begin to realize that this God that we love and we serve is so much bigger than just us. And in a different culture, in a different language, with different understandings, we come out of there and we see the way they see God, and we're grown by it because they see him in ways that we don't. And it's just been a really, really beautiful thing over the years. And then the question people ask is, well, if we send teams, what are we trying to do? And I just say the bottom line is we're trying to add value to whatever it is they're trying to do. What is it for the Haitians? What are you trying to do? And they're trying to build communities. They're trying to provide jobs. They're trying to create better health care. They're trying to do all that. And so they're trying to educate their people better. Their kids, their leaders, develop leaders. So what makes a good team experience? A good team experience is us being able to go in and actually add value to what it is they're already doing. This is not a sightseeing trip for us to go and experience a different culture, and that's awesome. We have that, and we hope to have that and have that be meaningful. But ultimately, we want to add value to what they're doing. And if we can't find meaningful ways to send teams to add value, then we need to stop sending teams to that particular place. So what I will say, and you'll see this as we go along, we found some pretty incredible partners. And as we've been working in Haiti for 10 years, and the stuff that is going on there is absolutely mind-blowing, the stuff that they're doing. And we truly are able to come alongside them and help them do what they could not do on their own, but they own it. It's their thing. And it is really cool. So, Jen asked me to explain a little bit about why, if everything is going so beautifully in Haiti, did we veer left and kind of stick our toe in the water with Ukraine? Some of you know that we are a part of a denomination called the Christian and Missionary Alliance, and the alliance has sort of organized us into. I meet in a network with 5 other pastors so there are 6 churches total. And we meet together for us to encourage each other and help each other become better leaders, but also to do a global project together, to work together, to have our churches unite to do a global project together, as well as to plant churches together. So we've been putting money away, and we've been praying and planning and for our little network to plant a church in this area soon. And I won't give you all the details on that today, but it sounds like some of that is really moving forward. So I'm stoked about that. But that group of people, after spending a lot of time thinking about it, they had some connections in Russia and Ukraine and wanted to kind of go that direction. And so all of us, including Jen, we took a trip over there and we met all the workers and went to the different areas, and we landed on trying to support a brand new church plant in Kiev. And so that's why we're over there. Add something to that. I'm tired of hearing myself.
Speak, woman. So here's the team that went. We went in the fall, so it was like, I think we were gone over Halloween and part of the first week of November. And there are several people there that you probably recognize. Left is Brian Durr. Right next to him is Melina. Then Shannon Wine is in the back, and Dave Bendemeer. And then you know that person right there. But the 2 people right there, Julio and Rhonda, they were from one of our partner churches in Bellingham. So they came to every team meeting that we had. We drove all the way down there. The network decided to send me because I would be good eyes on what would be a good team trip. Since we kind of had some. Am I going in and out?
You are going in and out.
Okay. Is there anything I can do to be helpful?
I don't think it's battery. I think it's just a connection to the unit.
All right.
If it gets really bad, I can give you this one and take a handheld if you want.
Okay. Where was I? Okay, so we went to Ukraine in the fall, and we went to do English camp there. As some of you know, Ukraine is not considered a developing nation, so it looks very different than Haiti when you go. The weather is obviously very different. It's very cold there, but it's more developed as far as their culture goes. And so what do you have to bring to people who aren't desperate and hungry and looking for food and that sort of thing? We were like, we don't know. And so with the Alliance, there are field workers there that kind of oversee the work that's done there. And as we talked with them...
Field workers would be missionaries. That's the new lingo for missionaries. So they're Americans that are over there working the field.
And the reason that okay, but there's a reason that they've shifted that. Because a long time ago, missionary meant we go and we barf Jesus all over you. And that is not what they're doing. That is not the hope. That is not the goal of it. Field worker means we're here in this field and we are rolling up our sleeves alongside of local churches to help them. Sorry, it's driving first.
For now, is this, Johnny, can you get this one going? We can switch during the video. How about that?
Yes. I'm too much of a pea brain. I lose my focus. So we went to do English camp. The field workers there just basically said, this is a felt need that we have. No one can speak English like a native English speaker. And so it was a bridge builder for the work that the church there was doing. And we were there for 10 days. The main purpose of the trip was to come alongside of this young 2-year-old church plant, which was like kind of special to my heart because obviously we've been there before, to encourage them and to help them with the ministry that they were doing there. So most of our work there was centered around English and speaking English because in Ukraine, many parents wish so badly, adults wish they knew how to speak English, but even more, they want it for their children. And so we could come and provide that opportunity and that blessing to them. So we ran a kids' English camp, and we thought that they had done it before. And what was communicated to us was we are going to gather the kids, and there's a program. And then the night before, I got this email that said, looking forward to all that you'll be teaching at English camp. And I said, what is it exactly that you were hoping that we were teaching? And it was the whole thing. And so I did a quick Google search on my way to the airport, and we Googled that bad boy, how to teach English camp, and we rolled with it. And it turned out to be awesome. And so we got to hang out with people through the English camps, hang out with people in the church, and we got to build relationships by letting people practice their English. And so I thought it would be cooler for you to hear from the team what the experience was than it might be from me who was there. So
let me interject 2 things. One, so we're going to talk Ukraine, then we'll talk Haiti in the second half. The second thing is, please look at this photo. If you notice the man on the left, he is 7 feet tall. And the Ukrainians, the nationals there, the family that is really running that church, they're huge. So the dad is like 6'10", 350.
Size 14 shoes.
And the kids are all like 6'8". And so when a man, another bearded man walks in that's taller than they are, it is mind-blowing to them. So let me just, because there's a lot of references to that in this video.
We've been overseas for 24 years. And this is our third year in Kiev. When we were told that a team was coming, our first reservation, when we were still stateside, and so others were making the arrangements, and we were kind of feeling, oh, this will be interesting.
Yeah, maybe a little reservation about how it would fit into our quickly developing situation in Kiev that doesn't have a huge base yet because the church plant, the main church plant is just over 2 years old. So yeah, a little bit of that.
The first thing that surprised me about the team was how amazingly flexible they were and how they could go with the flow of all that was happening.
I think the main thing that was surprising to me is how much they could directly interact with the local team and the local children, and that in a direct way, instead of waiting for me or someone as a translator to help them do that. They understood what life situations and used what language they had and what language the other person did, and really were so relational and so direct about it. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah. The other thing that surprised me in terms of the English camp was how amazingly quick the children took to the team. And that was incredible.
We were all told, and we all expected to see the children kind of be shy at first, and it seemed like from the first moments they were virtually coming in and hugging the team and excited to see them. So it was pretty amazing.
I've been on a trip before to the Philippines, and so I had kind of an expectation of what this trip was going to entail. When I would go to the Philippines, it was always doing construction, and with that, we were working with the Nationals, but they were also part of the church that I was involved in at that time. And so you were really dealing with Christians who also knew how to do construction. So you just really felt part of a team doing construction work. Whereas this was very much relational in the sense that you were trying to relate with the kids. You're also trying to relate with their parents, and even the pastors and the staff of the church. And it's a whole different experience that way. You actually have to talk to people about their problems or the challenges basically that they come up against, and be a good listener, and not really put a time limit on those kinds of discussions. And that's not always been real easy for me. I'm not much of a small talk or person who would just go to a crowd of people and just kind of mingle, that kind of thing. So
one of the things that surprised me and that I've really enjoyed is just meeting all of the people at the church and getting to know them and seeing how we are so different and yet so much the same, and how they love Jesus, and just seeing their hearts has been really a cool thing that I've loved and enjoyed this trip.
Some memories from English Club that I will take with me. Definitely the kids. And I know everyone goes on missions trips and says, oh, it's the kids. Now I get it. Kids are kids everywhere, but to meet kids in an entirely different context and see their exuberance for life and their willingness to make really meaningful connections with you, that I will take with me. I also will take this one specific time when we first walked in, and it was the first time meeting the Ukraine team, and Brian walked in, and then Timothy just runs over, hugs him. He's never met him. Hugs him, and he's this big man. And that kind of set the tone for our whole time. They were that happy to see us. Mostly Brian at first, but that happy to see us. I think that's one of the main things I'll take.
I loved seeing all the kids and just interacting with them, because while you don't know the language, just having them try to learn our words and us trying to learn their words is always fun and entertaining.
I think what stood out to me at English camp is that when looking at the children that were there, that attended the English camp, it was not apparent to me which ones were refugees and which ones were not. And I think that was a very helpful thing for me and also the team, that we didn't have any preconceived ideas of what the status was with these children, and maybe look at them differently. They were all children that were having fun and enjoying the camp, and it didn't matter where they came from.
One of the things that has impacted me that I will take away from this trip is seeing how far our money goes here, and how it means, like, $5 to us is not that much, but here it can go a long way. Yeah, that I think is one that, so even just donating to missions and seeing $20 in the US goes a really long way in another country, whether it's Ukraine or, Mexico or wherever. That's one thing that has stuck with me from here.
I think there were 2 times that I felt an invitation from God while here, and
one of them was kind of like an overall theme that went through our time here, and that was that it's a great big world and that there's a lot of areas in which we can spread that joy that we saw inside the church. And I think previously I thought of missions as kind of proselytizing, and it kind of scared me, but I really felt led to come here, and I think that's one of those things. I think it was to say, like, you're not right about that. Look at the joy that comes from just knowing Jesus and having a Christian life. And that was really huge. And the second thing, I think God shows up in worship. I really do. And hearing the way that people who are saying something that you don't understand are still feeling something that you do understand creates a kind of bond that you wouldn't get in a place where you do get what's going on.
I think that what God showed me is that if you are real and if you are willing to listen to other people about their ministry or about what they do or what they're trying to do, it kind of bridges that bond, or the conversation is not. It just makes the conversation more easier and more meaningful than if you just kind of say, well, I'll just pray for you for that, or that kind of thing. So I came to this trip, for that very reason, to be more compassionate, more relational, able to really sit down with someone and listen to their story. And I think that God showed me that I can do this. I'm not saying that's an easy thing, but I think that I know I can do it if I need to, or if that's what God has for me. So.
If there was one thing that I could say to our Brookview family, it would be 3 things. Okay, first thing, it's really great to be uncomfortable. It's really, really great. It feels uncomfortable, but it's just a temporary state of being until you're something better. And second thing, travel with Brian. It makes life a lot easier. People are both afraid of you, intrigued by you. Children will point and then slap their mom. Third thing is just forget what you know about missions, because it's like a birthing plan as a new mom. You don't know what's going to happen. So if you just kind of go with an open heart, and then it gets filled up. And I expect it will be more full in the weeks following the home return. So go do missions.
If someone was on the fence, I would tell, just go. Just do it. It will be a stretching and growing time, but it will be something that you can't get just staying at home. Going out of your comfort zone and out of your culture and experiencing a new one, and seeing that God is still the same no matter where you are, and how he moves and works in people's lives, I think is awesome. And that's something that if you have the opportunity to do and are thinking about it, I would say definitely just take the risk and do it.
I am super bummed that we didn't get to hear from Brian. He actually had to leave the trip a day early, or 2 days early, and that's when we did all of our filming. But what I can say about this team and teams that we've taken is, this might be weird, but I'm so proud of us. I'm proud of the way that we live love no matter where we are, whether it's here, whether it's in our community, whether it's in the global world out there. People notice that there's something different about you guys, and I'm so proud of you. The field workers there that you heard from at the beginning of the video were really apprehensive, and they were trying to accommodate us and make sure we were comfortable all the time. And come to find out, they had had a group down there that had one night stay in a hotel room, and they didn't like the quality of the thread count on the sheets that they were in. And this is what people sometimes can experience from us as Americans when we walk out of our comfy, cozy little place and expect the rest of the world to be like it, but not so with us. And that is our prayer and our hope and our dream, is that anywhere we go, people see something different, that we be categorized as people who love well, no matter what. And I'm super proud of this team and how they did that on this trip. So it was really cool. So I want to transition a little bit into talking about our work in Haiti. That is our other global way that we're longing to live love outside of our community. We have been in Haiti since 2008 and traveled and seen all sorts of different things. And we're with our current partner, Ebenezer Ministries, and we've been with them since 2012. This was our first day that we met them, and that was pretty special. Jason and I, we look the same, right? Haven't aged, but it's Brooklyn, really, that shows you how long ago it was. But we love working with this group because they're visionary. And I'll tell you why that's so important. They dream about a new day, a better way, how to love Jesus better, how to love people better, and it is so cool. We're not lighting a fire under them. A fire is lit, and we just step alongside of them and say, how can we help add fuel to what you're doing?
Well, can I jump in? I want to explain for a sec who these people are. So the woman in the middle doesn't look very Haitian. She's actually from France, and she's a medical doctor, and she came like 30 years ago to do a short-term trip and fell in love with these two guys and the work that they were doing.
Not romantically.
No. Thank you for that. And she moved there and has been living there and serving there ever since. And she's an extraordinary lady. When I think of meeting Mother Teresa, I'm like, this would be the next best thing. So she rides a bike around, and for some reason
It's the Wicked Witch of the
yeah, it
West.
just looks like that when she drives her bike around. She's just going as do-do-do-do-do-do. Anyway. And then the guy next to her is Pastor Michelle, and he runs the whole thing. And huge vision, huge personality. And then Joshua is who we work with the most because the projects that we're doing really fall under his umbrella. And he's an amazingly gifted leader and just incredible man. And these three right here have been working together for over 3 decades. So when you think with the longevity of their organization, and they started with nothing, and they have done incredible things. So.
Another thing that I love about them as humans is that they're selfless leaders. And that is something that in American culture, we say, yes, that's at the heart of good leadership, is someone who thinks of others first. But in a developing country, that is not how it works. Because if you're selfless and you think of the person next to you, it often means that you don't eat. It often means that you don't get the thing that's being handed out. And it's almost a culture of survival. And so it's different. Where in America, we have everything we need. We really do. And we even have the things that we want. In their culture, it's whoever gets there first. So watching these people, these 3 human beings, be selfless and set themselves aside for the betterment of other people is something that is very uncommon in that country, and it's noticeable. So we've seen a difference there.
For sure.
They're trustworthy. That's a big deal. When they say, hey, we need some money for this, the next time we travel, we see it. They don't line people up to give us a show when we get there. They just say, hey, come. And oftentimes we've shown up on the bus and they're like, oh, we thought you were coming in 2 days. So that's cool because it means the work that they're doing is just happening. They're not putting on some program and some show because the donors are rolling into town. They're like, whoa, and we can watch everybody scurrying, and finally I'm like, you weren't thinking we were coming today, were you? And they're like, no. But it's so cool. I love that it's that casual and that they're trustworthy.
One example is they have a school. They have many, many schools. They have over 100 schools that they operate. But the one that's in the big city where they are in Gonaive, the first time we were down there, like 3 years ago, we went to that school and it was about 1,200 students, and educationally they were way above what the average Haitians are getting education-wise. And they said, we want to add a second building back behind here and double the number of kids that are coming and increase some programs. And we were like, oh, okay. So we go back 2 years later, they take us out to the school, and they did it. They added all that stuff in the back. They've now got like 2,500 kids going to school there. They have gym class. They have computer labs. They have a library. I was just like, this is unbelievable. And we didn't help them with that. And it's not like they said, oh, you're coming. Let's try to impress you and throw this together. There's no way that you could throw that together. It was just the work that they're doing and the drive. And so we're not their only partners, which is really cool.
The other thing that I appreciate about them is that they're willing to be really honest. And you might be like, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because they're not just saying yes to something that they don't want or need in their community. They're willing to say, like I'll say, hey, what about this? Nope, that's not going to help us, and let me tell you why, rather than just appeasing everything that I say. And so I appreciate that honesty from them. And then we've had an exchange of honesty back with them, where I can talk with them about, nope, that actually doesn't work for us, and let me tell you why. And they're learning about us, and we're learning about them because of that willingness to be honest, to talk about what their community really needs and what our community really needs as we love them as well. Okay,
Yes.
You're not adding anything.
No.
All right, so most of you know that one of the things that we've done in Haiti is to focus on water projects, because those are really too expensive for them to do themselves. And so I looked this up yesterday. A 2018 recent minimum wage report out of Haiti, I didn't really realize they have a minimum wage, said that a well-paid Haitian worker, so kind of someone that's climbed the top of the success or the career ladder, will make about $815 per year. These water projects usually run about 10 grand. So it really is outside of their ability and the church's ability to do on their own, and they do need help from us. So we've taken quite a few people from Brookview over the years, and they've seen the reality of what life without water looks like. And I wanted to show you interviews with a few of them about what they saw. So you're going to hear from Emily Callan and Jeff Satterthwaite. Surprise, guys. Once we get you on film, you never know when you'll show up again.
Water is life in Haiti, in any third world country. So when you're walking around Haiti, you see lethargic kids, you see people moving really slowly. The heat is sometimes unbearable. Kids are lethargic. You can kind of see it on school, like the faces of kids at school. You can see it in adults walking along the road. There isn't enough clean water that people feel alive, and we've seen what happens when you simply give water to a child who 5 minutes ago was laying around and has some water and they can be jump roping. I mean, it's crazy how much it impacts just daily life, and there isn't enough of it. So when we were in Haiti and we fired up a generator to pump water from the well, we stood there and had tears running down our faces. We saw droves of people coming down from the hillside with buckets to get clean water for their families.
Well, the water crisis in Haiti, it's more than just about water. Water is foundational to everything in life. We just don't realize it. We take it for granted here. So in Haiti and other developed nations, things like education, things like just basic health, being able to live a healthy, productive life. You can't go to school and learn when you're sick. because you have some disease that's been contracted from dirty water. So it's really important. It's not just about the water, it's about their total life. So in 2008, I got to go to Haiti, and it was an incredible experience. It's hard to describe when you hold a little baby in your arms who's just really sick, eaten up by worms, unable to really even have any energy. Our kids, we look around, they're running around. These kids are just sick. And part of that is the fact that they just can't maintain good health, and a lot of that has to do with poor drinking water. So it was a big experience for me, and it means a lot that we're impacting that somehow.
I always forget how cool what we get to do there is until a morning like this. Ann Herbig and I got to travel to Haiti just a couple of months ago in February. And the purpose of our trip was to dream together with Pastor Joshua, who kind of is in charge of the water stuff there. And we talked about future projects, including what we're fundraising for right now, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. We were exploring some resources for them for farming and agriculture as a result of the wells that have been drilled there. And then also to just check in on our water work and see how it's going, how the money is being spent, and just celebrate and soak it all in. And so that was really cool. And we had a chance to see our 2 wells. The first one from 2013 in the community of La Croix. And then the second one we drilled in 2014 at the Savannah of Hope. And I was digging around in my video archives, and I found our very first interviews in Haiti that we did with Pastor Joshua before the wells had even been dug. And they were just kind of in the dream phase of, what if we do this? What if we could raise the money for this? So I put in some images that are today with those interviews so that you can see the current state of the 2 projects. So this first interview is the first well in the community of La Croix, which is the place that our last team took a trip to, and we stayed and we did a construction project to revitalize the property there, and that's where the well is. So I'll let you hand off.
La Croix, I just want to throw this in. How many of you like LaCroix? Yeah, so I can't stand it. But when we were there, this is the same name, so we kept saying LaCroix, and finally Joshua looks at us and goes, "It's La Croix." So just so you know, you've been saying it wrong this whole time.
And it means the cross.
And it means the cross.
Yeah, the cross. Okay.
First well.
Here we are.
Hey friends in America, thank you so much for willing to pay the price sacrificially to help us get $12,000 US in order to drill a well of La Croix, which will serve more than 10,000 people. And they will also irrigate the land to make peanut. So this well will be like the greatest blessing we can have in this community, because now the people have to walk a long way to get some water to drink, and this well will serve for a double purpose, good water, drinking water, plus irrigating the land. So I want to tell you, the seed you have sowed will grow bigger, and so many people will be blessed. Thank you for helping us to rebuild Haiti, to help the people in the area, and we love you so much, friends. We'll keep in touch. Let's continue to be partners in Jesus.
Woohoo!
Wow.
That was awesome.
That was very good.
And look, I'm turning around now. Hi, Jason.
Hi. Come on.
Yeah, give a hug.
So not only did that well go in, but you see the cistern in the back right there. they pump it in there and it's stored in there. And then these people on the outside of the wall, that's kind of private property, but they want to make sure that the community has access to it. So they have, you can access it from inside the wall, but they also give access outside the wall for free for people in the community, which is really, really, really cool. So.
Yeah, we got to dig that well first, and then you notice the next summer, it was just a pipe coming out of the ground that they would hook a generator up to every once in a while and get water, and people would come onto the property. And then last year, as a result of Purely Haiti, that's where the cistern came in and the piping out to the road, and then those valves there, and they do that 2 times a week. They have water, and what is the cool thing about it is that when we came in 2015, and it was simply every once in a while that generator would fire up, you would hear the sound of the generator, and all of a sudden you would just watch droves of people coming from everywhere to get the water. And this time, when Ann and I went, there weren't droves of people. It was like they had regular access to water, and they knew that it was coming in 2 days. And it's rhythmic, and it's systematic, and there's someone in the church that's called the water deacon, and he's in charge of that thing being orderly, and people coming and getting fair access to water, not because somebody pushed and shoved to the front of the line. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and then they're farming with it on top of that. So it's really a big deal.
Yeah, we were there after the peanut harvest that they had in the field where Jason and I were standing at the well there. They had just harvested their peanuts, and Ann and I got to have fresh roasted peanuts from the farm for breakfast one morning.
All right, so another thing that Joshua did when we first met him is he took us out. James, do you have the other background that we had earlier, just the Purely Haiti? That one. He took us out into this field and said, "My friends, I have a dream." And he said, this is the, Savannah Desolée, which means the desolate savannah. But we believe Jesus is going to turn this into the Savannah of Hope. So we're calling it the Savannah of Hope. And he laid out the vision for all that they wanted to do. They wanted to drill a well. They wanted to build farms. They wanted to build houses. They wanted to build a community where the people would sign a covenant to love one another. There wouldn't be prostitution. There wouldn't be domestic violence. You had to agree to those things, which those are big issues in Haiti if you want to live in the community. And so
I think a swimming pool even came in part of that conversation. That was my favorite, and a swimming pool. We haven't seen that, but.
So anyway, I mean, these big dreams, and it's just like, okay. And so, we get to well number 2, and we build this well, and it is unbelievable what they have done around that thing with housing, farming. And so we're going to show you him casting the vision to us initially before anything had been done with the images of what's there now. And I just want you to get the feeling of the life that's there now.
I want to tell you something that the video doesn't show. This piece of land, when you drive in, is got 2 brick walls lining it. And then you take a left towards where the well actually is drilled, and there's a well house. They hit a natural spring well, so there's no power required to get that water pumping out of the ground. So there's this 3-tap house that they built, and people can turn on the water whenever they want to and have absolute access. There are homes built back there. There are fields, there are nurseries, and you'll see some of those images. But the development is incredible from then to now.
Yes.
The end.
Yes, friends of America and everywhere, this is the spot where we're going to drill the big irrigation well for the whole area of Ebenezer Mission, and other people will be able to use the water as well. As you know, water is synonymous of life. So we know as soon as we have this water, we'll be able to irrigate many hectares of land, which will be able to give food to the whole community, and that will be a very good help of self-sufficiency, because that will help us to not to ask a fish every day, but we be able to fish ourselves in order to feed our families, to feed our friends, and also to take food to the market to sell and to get money, cash flow in order to do other things. So this will be the second well that Pastor Jason and Jenny and the whole church, the whole community where you are will help us to do. And we hope that God will help you to get enough funds, enough money to do this work for the glory of God and the advance of His kingdom. Thank you. This is a special place, and we're going to pray over this place like you see in the Bible. Jacob would, if it was the time of Jacob, he would put a stone here. So we put the stone of faith here, and very soon we'll see water coming out of the land in order to change the whole place. It will no longer the desolate savannah, but the desolate of hope, the desolate of change, and the desolate of prosperity. May God richly bless you, friends in America. I love you.
So the last actual team we took was in the fall of 2016, and we interviewed them at the end of that trip, and we just wanted you to hear from them because they got to see this stuff in action, and it wasn't as developed as it is currently, but it was definitely along the way. And so I want you to hear from Bob Lewis and then Alan and Wheelo also.
So after we'd been here for a few days, we took a tour of the Ebenezer Ministries that are located on several different locations. And traveling there, I just observed that everything is kind of run down, and fences are tipping, and there's cracks in walls, and there's rusty roofs, and there's cars that are broken down, and the car you're in barely can get up a hill. And all I could see, being a general contractor where I work with homes that want to be perfect, was all of the disrepair and all of the, everything in my mind is going downhill, falling apart, and how could we ever make an impact here? And as we're going through seeing Ebenezer Ministries, Joshua, yes, Joshua was explaining all of the potential, all of the progress, all of the coming in and building, and here we're in this dusty, barren area where we drilled a well, and it looks like, what's going on? And as we're there, a lady walks up and takes a jug off the top of her head and fills it with water, just to get water to live that day, and realizing that just on the other side of some bushes are houses, and there's a whole village there that people, and then you see somebody else walking through different trees and coming up and getting water and then putting it up on their head, and just like in the movies. And he kept talking about, we're going to have homes here, and farms and homes and farms. And then he took us down this trail, and there was one house that had been already built, just barely built. You would call it still in half rubble. And these people had their chairs outside, and they just moved there that morning. All their belongings were sitting outside the door, but the door was locked, and they were happy. They welcomed us. This is one of their first homes. And all of a sudden your mind realizes, wow, this is potential. There is hope here. The Savannah of Hope is going to blossom. The Savannah of Hope is going to help people have farms. And it's laid out in a way that where the road's going to go, and where each one, there are already some fences being built. I am glad to be a part of that. The two wells that had been talked about in church, that's what stood up to me. I have been going to Brookview Church for a couple of years, 3 years actually, to be exactly. And all this time I had been hearing about, there are two wells that have been dug in Haiti, and sitting at church in those chairs and you just hear the story about them, it's very different from seeing them in person. I got to see the two wells,
and I actually got to take a shower from the water coming from one of the wells. Also, just seeing those people coming with their buckets, getting the water from the water tap, and also hearing Joshua, Pastor Joshua, the way he talks about the well, the way he talks about how the water changes, it changed lives over there. It's amazing. And just as we were taking the tour, we got to meet one of the guys who is helping Ebenezer designing the farms so that they can do some cropping. And the guy, right after he was introduced to us, at the very last, he said, "Pastor Joshua, tell those people that the money is being spent well. It's not being spoiled." Because seriously, the guy really believed in the two projects, and he really loved them. And from us seeing those two projects, we can definitely tell that the money is well spent. The things that are being done in Haiti is definitely, it's amazing.
So this thing that we get to do is pretty amazing. And what we've watched over the years is that it's no one person. It is our community rallying together and doing what we can and trusting God to multiply it. And we've watched God be the multiplier. It's like the little boy who came with his fish and his loaves and went, "That's not enough to feed the crowd." I often think, that's not enough. We'll never be able to do that. And lo and behold, our God does. And so that's not our credit to take. It's really his, as we stand with open hands to him and say, "God, what I have is yours, and I'm going to give a small amount back to you and let you use it for your purpose, for your kingdom, and for your glory." And I'm just really thankful to get to be a part of watching all of that play out. So we love Ebenezer. We love the partnership that we have there. We love the work that we're doing. We love the fact that we're providing for these people something that they cannot get for themselves, and that's water access, better access to water. And so our current project for this walk and this fundraising that we're doing is for a generator for the well at La Croix. Many people have talked like, what about solar power? What about? They have their reasons and they know why. And I've explored a few of those things with them. We also don't know why they go through generators as quickly as they do. Part of it is their gasoline is not high quality. And so sometimes you can run some bad gas through those generators and it just wipes them out and it puts them on the fritz for a while, and they're really dependent on it. Solar power is very expensive, and they don't have the education and the skills that they would need to be able to properly maintain solar. Currently, we're looking into figuring out if they have access to natural gas, because those generators are quite a bit cheaper. But for now, they're needing a generator, a gas-powered generator that is pretty high-powered, because they need to be able to pump a lot of water out of the well in order to irrigate the land. If it was simply for domestic use, like doing laundry or cooking or taking showers, that would be different. But because it's an irrigation well, it needs to be higher powered. And right now, the estimate that they have from a place in Port-au-Prince, he went to 3 different places, is $10,000 to do it. We've been able to find some generators that are about $6,500 here in the States. So we'll look into it and see if it's much cheaper to ship something over there and if we can actually do that. But we like to, whenever we can, buy in country, because it stimulates their economy. So if it's just a matter of a few $100s, we're going to go with what is in Port-au-Prince. If it's thousands of dollars, that's something different, because we can actually feed more people and we can provide more water with that. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. And the reality is that We want to continue to see communities in Haiti changed. We want to see them changed because of access to safe, clean drinking water. We're seeing it, but it's just sucking us in because we want more. We want more and more and more of it. We dream that Pastor Joshua and Ebenezer's communities would continue to flourish, and that more of their dreams for their people that they love and they serve selflessly would be realized. So today, we're going to walk. We're going to walk for that cause, and we're going to think about that reality. That 5K walk that we do is the average distance that someone in Haiti has to go to collect their water. Water is often collected by women and children. I think maybe you noticed in some of those videos, not a lot of men hanging out there. It is the women and children. It allows the women to do more, to be more present in their families. It's safer for them when they have access to water closer to their homes and not doing long walks where they're more vulnerable. For children, it gives them better access to education because they don't have to take the tasks of the everyday work when some of that stuff is a little bit more simple for them.
There's kids that actually don't go to school because their parents, they need to carry water every day.
Yeah, in order for the family to survive. So I just want to, beyond walking, just invite you to give sacrificially to this Purely Haiti project. If you're not able to walk today and you want to donate, you can go online to purelyhaiti.org, and there's a little button on the website where you can donate. Or you can put a check in the offering basket this morning. Just put Purely Haiti on the memo line. If you have cash, you can give it to one of the ladies at the registration table this morning on your way out, even if you can't walk. So I just want to invite you to participate financially in that. I want to invite you as well to pray. Keep praying that God would be the multiplier of the work that we do there, that their communities truly would be changed, and that God's name and his renown would be well known because of the work that we do and because of the work that they do in their communities, because they can love people better when they can invite them to have their basic needs met. So our goal for this Purely Haiti is $10,000. Currently, with online registrations and donations as of last night at about midnight, we're at about 3,000. So we are well on our way. I've watched God do bigger things, so I'm not super worried about that. And if we don't meet it, it's okay. We get creative, and so does God. So that's all right. That's not a failure. But in closing, I just want to also invite anyone here who might be interested to think about traveling with us to Haiti. We're going to have another trip in February of 2019, next February. So if you would like to be added to an email list of people that we'll contact when we start having informational meetings, signing up is not, hey, I'm going. It's just, hey, I'd like some more information about going. I don't know exactly what we're going to do. We'll find stuff to do. But you can indicate that on your communication card that was inside of your bulletin. There's a little box there that says, I'm interested in having more information about global relief. And there's a Russia box, and there's a Haiti box. If you check Haiti and then you put traveling to on there, we will connect with you and we will get you information as you need it.